Well, all right, let's talk Jared Goff, where, there were so many questions after week one of, the offense just did not look great against the Green Bay Packers. And it's like, was this missing Ben Johnson? Was it missing the interior offensive line? And listen, football is a long season. We'll see if they end up missing those things. But they're still the Lions. There's still Jared Goff. There's still a ton of weapons. And honestly, the X's and O's look very good in this game. They put up 50 points, okay? You can't do that if you're a mediocre offense, let alone a bad one. So let's talk about what they were able to do so effectively in this one. First things first, the play you see on your screen, going to be one of those more over-the-middle routes that the Lions have been kind of known for being great at. When this play begins, this isn't going to get quite as open as maybe you're used to. It takes a little bit longer to develop. I do have to say, though, on a bit of a side note, look at this pocket. That is something that we saw in this game of the offensive line looked like Detroit Lions' offensive line again. It's possible that last week was just playing the Packers. It's a lot more difficult. Most of the pressure came from the interior last week. Pretty much no pressure in this game. But watch Jared Goff make a really nice, accurate throw that was not as open as maybe we've seen in previous years. But you know what? One thing I said when I watched tape last week is Goff might have to fire the ball a little bit more when things aren't quite as open. And I wonder if Goff kind of saw the same thing on tape, because I think we did see that in this game. He was I don't want to say taking more chances, but just throwing one maybe he wouldn't have earlier. It was still a well-ran route and, nice catch and everything. But yeah, kind of everything working well on that one. Also, this next play, so this is another thing that you wanted to see if you're a Detroit Lions fan, which okay, listen, if you're a Lions fan, you like Jared Goff, would you have loved to see Jared Goff just in a bad situation find a way to make stuff work and still move the ball down the field? Sure, that'd be fun. But what you really want to see is just the offense to look like last year's offense, to look comfortable again. And we definitely saw that. So first, this is going to be a fake handoff. They're going to give it to the end around instead on this play. Watch as Goff, fakes the handoff, gives it to Keith Raymond, who gets the ball. And, it's a really good play. They're able to pick up 10 yards. That feels like Ben Johnson of last year, right? Again, it's the same coaching staff, essentially, just, without the offensive coordinator. They still had an internal hire. So it's a lot of similar stuff. And last year, last week, this stuff wasn't really working. Well, this week it is working, which is, again, makes you feel more comfortable it makes you unfortunately feel like the Packers defense might be good if you're a Lions fan. At least it's not that, the missing pieces are causing you to be horrible. It might just be you had a bad week. This play is another one where it's going to be a zone coverage concept that the Chicago Bears are going to be in. And so the Lions have a concept designed to beat this. First, they're going to have their two eligible receivers lined up towards the offense's left run routes that are going to go more over the middle. And then they'll have a tight end in motion run a route that's going to go more towards the top of the screen on this play. This is Brock Wright, mostly a blocking tight end, who's going to run this route. Jared Goff takes a snap. No one picks up the blocking tight end. Goff is able to make that throw. Again, that feels like last year's Lions, right? Making stuff like this work. This is it's fun stuff for Detroit. And again, this is how you put up 50 points, is by being able to make things work this easily. Although I want to go over here because I want to give Jared Goff more love. I touched on it a little bit earlier, but he was making some really nice plays in this game. This was not just, sometimes I don't want to say critical, but maybe I think Lions fans feel like I haven't praised him enough for certain games because I felt like things were just a bit too easy for the offense in general. And while there were some of those plays in this game, there were also plays like this where he made it look easy. This is a cover 2 man on 2nd down and 2. Jared Goff is going to take the snap, and you see there is pressure. Yes, there was some pressure in this game. Pressure right here. What is Jared Goff going to do? Well, he's a statue quarterback. He's not going to be able to make anything work. Well, watch him navigate this pocket really well, and he's able to make the throw work. Listen, pocket presence does not necessarily mean being a good runner of the football. Drew Brees was one of the best at pocket presence I've ever seen. He was not a runner, right? You can be good at it and not necessarily be, someone who has a great 40 time. And I think we see that with Jared Goff. That's a great play, and that's being a playmaker, right? It's different on how Lamar's a playmaker, but it's still making a play work that wasn't going to work without Jared Goff. And I think that should be mentioned. And also this one, which was, the throw got overshadowed by the catch. We'll talk about it. 21 seconds left, no timeouts. The Lions trying to see if they can make something work, but you also kind of got to work the sideline if you want to push this one down the field. Goff's going to take the snap. He looks for a down-to-field sideline pass. It's Isaac Tesala, who obviously had kind of the incredible one-handed catch in week 1. Well, watch this throw and watch this catch. I mean, look at this unbelievable play. Now, the only downside with this play was that it was a weird situation where Tesala was actually down before he went out of bounds, so he should have been ruled tackled inbounds. Instead, he was ruled tackled out of bounds. So because of that, instead of the Lions having to hurry up and spike the ball, then it was a 10-second runoff, which probably helped them a little bit. But it was a weird thing where if you missed the game, essentially they didn't get the snap off because originally the ref ruled that he was out of bounds, and then he ruled that it was tackled inbounds, and because of that, they didn't get the snap off. But had it been ruled differently, they would have gotten a snap off at some point before the time expired. They ended up with a touchdown. Long story short, who cares? This is an awesome throw by Jared Goff and a great catch by Isaac Tesala. And now let's go over here, because, listen, again, we can criticize the Bears defense, which didn't look great. I guess it looked great at parts for the, against Minnesota. It looked great for the first 3 quarters and then horrible for the fourth quarter. Definitely had some moments where things did not go well. This play right here, it's zone coverage. You see Jameson Williams running a deep shot. We know about his speed, and quite frankly, if you're a defense, you have to be aware of Jameson Williams running a deep shot. He's going to do that several times in the game. Goff takes the snap, and the Bears just blow this coverage. 2 guys think that someone else was covering Jameson Williams, and because of that, he is wide open. Credit to Jared Goff, though. Well, this is something you're supposed to notice. Doesn't mean every quarterback does notice it. You have to be able to recognize it. That's exactly what Goff does. Beautiful throw. Good catch. I mean, it was easy catch, right? It's right there. But still, good throw, good catch, and bad defense, but good job by the offense for taking advantage. What does a good offense do? It takes advantage when their opponent makes mistakes. But really, let's go over here. This is just the main thing that you saw with the Lions that I think makes you happy. I kind of touched on it earlier. Over the middle route against zone coverage. Goff takes a snap. There's not even really a play action there, but Goff steps up in the pocket because there was a little bit of pressure. You see there's a window. Nothing crazy, but there's definitely a window right here. Goff makes the throw. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's Khalif Raymond who makes the grab there. Pick up a completion, able to get a big gain. That's an explosive passing play right there that just goes easily, right? And that's kind of it with the Lions at the end of the day. They looked like the Lions again. This looks like last year's Lions team, and it's just one game. But again, it's still a similar scheme. They still have most of the same players. Yes, it's not the exact same players. But it goes to show that, this team is fine. This team is not, the worst thing to happen to the Lions now, I feel like, is how good the Packers look. If there was concerns after week 1, there was. I mean, how could you not feel concerned after you had all those changes and how bad you looked week 1? But now that you see just how good of a team that team you played week 1 is, and how, again, putting up 50 points has to make you breathe a sigh of relief if you're a Detroit Lions fan. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.